This is a brief overview of the Cayman Islands Permanent Residency point system, which will allow you to become a permanent resident in the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands Permanent Residency point system is governed by the immigration regulations. It's found in Schedule 2 of the immigration regulations. The point system consists of 9 factors under which applicants are assessed for eligibility to become a permanent resident. You will need to obtain 110 points out of a possible 215 to be successful. The first factor is occupation, worth a maximum of 30 points. This factor focuses on what your current occupation is, and currently everyone gets 15 points, no matter what your title. There's no priority occupation list at this time, so you're not allowed to get the additional 15 points for a priority occupation. We anticipate that this list would consist of possibly scarce occupations. For an example, teachers and nurses. The other part of Factor 2 looks at your qualifications for a maximum of 15 points. If you're an accountant, doctor, or lawyer, they would look at your postgraduate qualification or your professional designation, such as your ACCA or CPA certificate or your medical practice certificate. If you were in the accounting field but only had a bachelor's degree, that would equate to 12 points. It goes all the way down to a high school diploma, which would give you 5 points. If you didn't have any of those qualifications, you get 0. If you were in a skilled or unskilled occupation with a postgraduate degree, for an example, a master's degree, or you're licensed by the Association of Architects, you would get 15 points. A bachelor's degree would give you 12 points. For vocational certificates, they would give you 10, and so on until a high school diploma. The third factor is local investments for a maximum of 30 points. They look at your investment in the Cayman economy. A minimum investment amount is $50,000. This could be in a purchase of a property or shares in a business. It's not the total value of the investment. It's how much cash you've spent to date. For an example, if you bought a $500,000 house, but you've only paid $75,000 so far in a down payment, stamp duty, and mortgage payments, then you would only use $75,000 as your investment amount. That is divided by 40% of your 5-year earnings for the previous 5 years, and then multiplied by a factor of 30 to give you up to a maximum of 30 points. If you're part owner or own it with a spouse, these considerations would have to be taken into account when calculating your points under Factor 3. The fourth factor, your financial stability with a maximum of 30 points. This is broken up into 2 parts. In the first part, they look at how much cash you have at your disposal and how much you earn. The cash and savings held locally are compared to your annual salary. For an example, if you have 5% of your salary saved in an account, then you would automatically get a maximum of 15 points, but it goes up to 1% for a minimum of 3 points. If you had less than 1%, then you would get 0 points for this factor. The other part of financial stability is its sliding scale. It looks at your salary. There are adjustments for whether or not you have a spouse, dependent children, either of school age or younger. We would work it with you to figure out where you would lie. For instance, if you earned $150,000, but you had 4 children under the age of 4 years and 10 months, your effective salary would be $90,000. The fifth factor is community integration for a maximum of 20 points. They look at how well you've become part of the Cayman community, whether you're helping out people in need or you're helping to develop the next generation of Keymonians. There are 2 parts to this. The first thought is giving you 2 points each for training or mentoring Keymonians outside of work. There are quite a few charities that allow that, but it doesn't have to be through a formalized charity. For instance, if you're assisting a Keymonian with their tertiary education, or you're helping with the rehabilitation of offenders, for each year that you spend at least 35 hours doing the training or rehabilitation, or each year that you've given $3,500, you get 2 points. Then the other activities would allow you 1.5 points per year that you've spent 35 hours. Some examples of these activities are participation and assistance in a local church, art, or youth program. Factor 6, History and Culture Test. This shows what you've come to know about Cayman's rich history and culture. You answer 40 questions and get half points for each correct answer out of a total of 20 points. You will sit this test after you've submitted your application. Factor 7, Keymonian Connections. If you had a parent, sibling, or grandparent that was Keymonian, or a child that is Keymonian, you automatically get additional points up to 100. Also, if you were a Cuban, given permission to stay in Cayman, that would count toward Factor 7. Factor 8, demographic and cultural diversity. To ensure that there is a diverse population, Cayman looks at how many people from your country are currently residing here. For instance, if you're from a country that accounts for less than 5% of the number of work permit holders, then you would get a maximum of 10 points. If your country accounts for more than 10% of all work permit holders, then you would get 0 points. If your country is not listed on this chart, it means that you fall under the All Others category and you automatically get 10 points. Factor 9, age distribution. The point system looks at your current age to see how many more productive years you have in Cayman. It ranges from 4 points to a maximum of 10 points. If you are 66 years and older, then you would get 0 points. When assessing your application, the Keymonian Status and Permanent Residency Board can deduct points if anything unsatisfactory comes up. For instance, health issues, criminal convictions, or not having a properly funded pension can result in loss of points. The CML team has over 20 years of experience in processing work permit and permanent residency applications. We are able to simplify this process for you. We know the law and we have excellent working relationships both with the Department of Work as well as various charities. We assist by providing clear, concise checklists and worksheets, so it makes this onerous process a lot simpler. You'll always know what happens at each stage of the process and when a stage has been completed. Please feel free to reach out to us for a consultation to assess where you are currently and any steps you need to take to have a compliant, successful application. Thank you for listening. We look forward to hearing from you.